Usually on this show, I chat to a business leader that I've never met before who could be located anywhere in the world and talk about how technology is transforming their business and their industry. And if we get along great, which we usually do on this podcast, I try to meet them in person next time I'm in their part of the world or they fly over to the UK. However, today is the first time I'm doing the complete opposite, because when I was in Phoenix back in February, I bumped into a guy that I just connected with instantly. And it seemed that we were both connectors who just seemed to enjoy speaking and meeting people, having spent a few minutes talking with them, instantly know someone else that they should be speaking with. And as we got talking at the Phoenix Open, he was telling me how Qualls and Brady have built a reputation on providing sophisticated legal services to clients all over the world. But they're also tackling some of those legal stereotypes around the legal industry about being slow to adopt change and innovation and technology. But all that is changing. So I invited him on the podcast today so we can learn the other side of the coin and what the great work that Brad's doing. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Phoenix, Arizona, so we can speak with Brad Vernalik, legal strategist, problem solver and business counsellor at Qualls and Brady. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Brad. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely, Neil. First of all, thanks so much for having me on the show. And I think, as I mentioned in our little pre-call, next time we're doing this, we're going to do it in a pub and have a proper beer in front of us. But thanks so much for doing it. I'm a partner at Qualls and Brady, which is an AmLaw 200 law firm in the United States, and I've been with the firm for going on about 20 years. And my client base is really kind of tech companies, financial service companies, and research universities and institutions. And so I'm a lawyer, and what I primarily do is focus on good solutions for my clients. And oftentimes what that means is putting together the right team, whether it's a patent prosecution team or a litigation team to kind of deal with a kind of a high exposure risk issue. I really kind of focus on bringing the right solution to the client, and I consider myself one of those people who really I'm in the business of fixing problems, and I love it.
Now, Qualls and Brady have a reputation on providing sophisticated legal services to clients all over the world. But can you just tell me a little bit more about how you don't just counsel, but actually invest in the success of each, leading them toward the achievement of their business goals?
Yeah, no, for sure. Thanks so much on that one, Neil. As a lawyer and kind of working in a large law firm, it's really easy not to kind of see the finish line for clients or not to kind of really understand what their actual goals are. And so we found as an institution and kind of each of us as partners and other attorneys within the firm that working with clients is far more enjoyable when you know what they're trying to accomplish from a business standpoint. You know, what are they trying to grow? What are they trying to avoid? Where are they taking the company? Are they in growth mode, or are they in acquisition mode? And when you're tuned in and dialed into those aspects of a client, you're able to offer far better service because your service ends up being more bespoke to what they want to accomplish. And we've become really good at that. And part of that, it really is understanding the client directly, but then also understanding the industry in which they're operating, and so that we can bring some really deep knowledge about the industry to all the issues we're working on. And and for us, it's we don't like to think of ourselves as a vendor. We really like to think of ourselves as a trusted partner and a trusted advisor. And so we position ourselves with clients in that regard. And kind of, as I mentioned at the front end, that's what makes the practice of law truly enjoyable and magical for people like me and my partners. We really want to be a part of the company's growth and help them kind of move the needle and move to the next level.
Now, in the last 4 weeks alone, I've noticed a dramatic rise around LegalTech, and I've had several firms on this podcast. So it feels like there's a real wind of change in the air at the moment as the industry shakes off that reputation of being slow to change and slow to embracing emerging technologies. So can you tell me a little bit more about that transformation from your point of view? And is it client-led, or is there something else going on?
Yeah, I'm going to start with kind of the end question about, is it client-led? And I'll say the transformation is in part client-led in the sense of clients are most certainly demanding and expecting and deserving more efficiency, better service. There are so many tools at our disposal that we are all in the business of trying to really kind of provide for clients in better, meaningful, deeper and more meaningful ways. So in that regard, it is client-led. But I'll also say that with certain firms and certain organizations like us, sometimes it's actually law firm-led in the sense that we are leading our clients to solutions that involve different kinds of technologies or external nets to help them kind of maintain documents or things like that, so that sometimes we're actually the person bringing the technology idea to clients. And so that's a little bit of back and forth. Let me zoom out. Overall, within the industry, there's a big transformation happening, and it's not limited to law firms. It's not limited to in-house counsel. It's just a really kind of broad deal where there's so much fantastic technology out there that can now help us, get through documents, do due diligence in different ways, understand how judges rule and how they've rules kind of over time based on algorithms that search decisions. I mean, it's just dramatic. And so we are at this pivot point where there's a transformation of how we practice in the sense of the tools that are available to us. I think the real challenge for the industry, and in particular law firms and how they allocate their resources, is how do you avoid what I call the next shiny object syndrome, which is, we can't constantly chase new technologies if we don't really know how they're going to directly apply to helping our clients. So we need to be very judicious and really kind of watch what's happening and pick the tools that are, really deeply helpful and really do kind of move the needle for our clients. So there is a crazy transformation. And, I think amidst this transformation, the real winners in terms of law firms and practitioners as outside counsel are going to be the folks who are able to weave in the appropriate and kind of correct technological tools to their practice while simultaneously maintaining a real high level and rigorous kind of ability to understand nuance and provide premium services that involve real judgment-based advice, so that it's not just kind of a transactional advice, but really, advice to clients and counsel that's based on experience, and based on real world working knowledge of how things play out at a business level. So we can't just rely on the tools, but I'll tell you, the folks who are going to be able to use the tools and simultaneously provide really sage, fantastic, kind of spot on, quick business judgment are going to be the real winners.